hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean, yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing, yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I'm going to show you how to make these 5 easy nautical Christmas DIYs using supplies from the Dollar Tree. Okay, let's get started. First, I'm going to use this little candy cane that I got at the Dollar Tree. It's covered in this tinsel. And all I'm going to do is just take it all off. What I want here is the little candy cane cage because I want to make like a wall hanging or wreath for my door to my garage. And I want to make this over and make it look very coastal, very nautical. So basically all you're doing is going around and around and taking the tinsel off the little tabs that you can see there on the sides of the candy cane until you get all of that cheap stuff off. Then I'm just going to go in with my scissors. I'm using my kitchen made scissors. They're like heavy duty, just to cut off all the tabs on the side because those might stick out from what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this candy cane in rope from the Dollar Tree. So this is the one I'm going to use. It is the white rope from the Dollar Tree. It's not the real wide one. It's kind of the skinnier one. So to get started, I'm just going to glue the end of the rope to that plastic cage. And I'm going to kind of work in a diagonal pattern. I thought that would make it look a little bit more interesting because it's a candy cane. And so basically I just have to get that glued down so that I can get started. And it's basically as easy as wrapping it around. But at first, when you're around the edges there, you kind of have to use a little bit of hot glue to get it to stay in place. But once you get started, you just wrap this thing. I think it takes 3 packages of this rope to cover the candy cane. And you can see the pattern there, and I'm just making sure that I have it end on the back so that you can't see. Hot gluing the end down, and then I'm just going to start another rope. Now, things were really fast and easy all the way up to the top of the candy cane. But then I have all of these weird angles to attend to. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make that work. What I end up doing is I kind of just end up leaving gaps because there's not enough room on the underside of the candy cane. So you'll see there I left a little triangular gap and then I just left another one there just kind of by necessity. And that is the end of that rope. And we're going to start our third one. When I start our third one, I'm just going to go ahead and start it at the tip of the candy cane there. And I'm going to try to go through and fill up all of the open space there. So just gluing it down and then I'm going to start wrapping what I can. Gluing it in place there on the edge to make sure that it stays in place. And then just wrapping what part I can until I run out of space for rope on the underside of the candy cane. And here I have almost enough room to get it through. And that's where I stop having room. So then I just glue it on the back, bring it back like a triangle to the other side, and then I'm just going to cut that off and fill up the gap there with that rope. But I still have a little gap, so I'm going to go ahead and put another string there starting about halfway through, continuing that on the back, making a triangle, bringing it back, and then making a triangle again. I can secure the tip of the triangle down using some hot glue and some scissors to kind of pry that down in there. And basically, you're not going to be able to tell that I had to do all these crazy things. It's going to kind of look more uniform. But this technique of just making a triangle and going back and forth worked really well. So that gap is full. So I'm just going to cut that off, glue that down, and poke that rope down in there where you can't see it. And then I'm going to do the same thing here in the last gap. So this was really easy, but this was the only challenging part, all these weird angles at the top of the candy cane. But we got it to work. And almost done, just filling in this last gap, cutting it off, and there we go. So we need stripes on our candy cane. So I'm going to use some of this painter's tape from the Dollar Tree, and I am just going to start kind of feeling out where I want the stripes to be. And I'm not measuring or anything. I am just putting the tape on there in a nice candy cane pattern. When I get here, I wasn't sure what to do, so I decided to try to start from this side. But then I kind of figured it out of what a candy cane would look like. And I ended up having to move that last piece. And now it is all ready for a candy cane stripes on a rope. This rope from the Dollar Tree is really easy to paint with chalk paint. And so I am using, this is the color Agave, chalk paint by Waverly. And I'm using like a real brush so I can get down into those little fibers of the rope. And I'm just going all over. It's only going to take one coat because the chalk paint covers really well, and chalk paint sticks really well to fabric as well. If your chalk paint is too thick, you can always water it down a little bit, and that works really great on painting fabric as well. And I decided to do blue stripes. I just thought that'd be more fun and go with my coastal decor. And I'm going to be doing a lot of like this pretty color of blue, white, red, and like wood. And I let it dry and just peeling off all the painter's tape. And look how cool that pattern turned out. I really like that I did it at a diagonal, and the stripes turned out really good. And this is just going to be a simple wall hanging for my door. And all I need to do is worry about making a hanger. And to do that, I'm just going to use some of this red ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This is the one that's not super shiny, and I'm just going to make a little loop here for the back of our candy cane. And I'm going to kind of hang it at a diagonal, not really from the direct top like the existing hole was on there. And I thought that was cute, but I thought it needed a little bit more. So I'm going to use some more of that ribbon, and I'm just going to tie off a simple bow for the top of this. That's going to give me a little pop of red and make it look a little bit more fun and festive for Christmas. So just arranging that how I like it, trimming off the ends of the ribbon, and I'm just going to hot glue that on the top there near the little tab we made to hang the candy cane. And that's all there is to this DIY. I think it turned out super sweet. What do you think? Okay, the next DIY, I want to make a Christmas tree using one of these wreath forms from the Dollar Tree I have left over from Halloween. This is the witch's hat. I bought extras of these because I thought there were so many different things that you can make with them. So I am just taking off the witch's brim. It was really easy to separate the metal there where it connected together. And basically I want the shape of a Christmas tree. I'm going to use some of these rulers from the Dollar Tree, just peeling the strips off of them. I have two packs, but I end up only using 3. Basically, I'm going to use those as a way to attach driftwood to this reform because I want to make a driftwood Christmas tree. Now, what I'm doing here is just painting the outside of the tree white because my original plan was to do a floating driftwood tree. That's not what I end up doing though. So I do use my heavy duty wire cutters and cut off the ends until I have a perfect triangle there that looks very much like a Christmas tree. But now I just need to cut the rulers to the right lengths So I'm just kind of laying them out using a marker to kind of show where I need to cut my rulers. And you'll see here I only needed 3. Then I went to my saw and cut my rulers to the right sizes. And these are going to be great bases for my Driftwood Christmas tree. Now the back of these rulers have a little ridge that sticks out, and I'm going to use that little ridge to glue to the wire that goes across my little reform. And I'm so glad I got extra of these reforms. I think they're so versatile. You could make them into a sailboat, a Christmas tree, a hat. You could make a gnome out of them. There's so many ideas. And I'm trying to, I don't know, it might have been easier to do this the other way around, but I'm trying to get those all on there straight. And here is the driftwood that we're going to use today. This is the driftwood filler that you can get at Target. It's regularly $10. I got this one on sale, but you can also get driftwood on Amazon. I can post a link below for that. You don't get quite as many as you do in this package though. So basically it's just like putting together a puzzle. I just got to try to find the driftwood pieces that are going to kind of fit. And this was my original vision, was that I wanted to do like floating tiers to my Christmas tree. And so I'm just filling in all of the parts of the ruler until you can't see it anymore, and just attaching those down with hot glue and kind of attaching them to themselves as well. And the first 2 were pretty easy. The 3rd and 4th one that were longer, I had to put quite a few pieces together to cover this. Now I've seen people do this with like the longer sticks or longer pieces of driftwood, but I really didn't have anything. And I live in Florida. I only have palm trees in my yard, so I don't have any sticks at all. So this is what I came up with. And we almost have it there. Okay, now I want to decorate my Christmas tree. So I'm going to use some of this paracord that I got in the hardware section at the Dollar Tree. And I thought I could use it like a little nautical garland. So I'm just going to kind of cut off pieces and kind of glue them in a little bit of a diagonal, like wavy shape across the tree like you would have on a Christmas tree. So I'm going to do the same thing on all of those. I really like the color of this paracord. It matches the decor that we're doing today and the decorations that I have in my kitchen. But the only thing I didn't like about it, it's got like the white string inside of it, but that's okay because it can kind of look a little bit rustic. So I just put a strip of hot glue down the pattern that I want it to go, and then just secure that down. And just adjusting that white ribbon that was inside. The next step I do is I do the same thing with some of that skinny brown rope from the Dollar Tree. And I'm kind of alternating up, down, kind of wherever it will fit, and kind of doing the same thing to bring in a little bit more of a coastal touch. Now, once I get all this rope on there, I decide I don't really like the brown rope on the brown driftwood. I think it kind of covers it up a little bit, and I wanted a little bit more contrast. So that's okay. I just use my heat gun, and I'm able to pull them all back off because it was just hot glue. And then I'm going to take one of these white ropes from the Dollar Tree, unwind the 3 pieces of rope, and use that instead. And it kind of goes better with that paracord anyway. So I'm just going to cut 4 pieces of that to kind of do the same thing that I did with that original rope. And I can cover where the hot glue was because that's exactly where I'm going to be putting this. And I went ahead and saved the brown rope because I am still going to use it. I'm just going to use it a little bit differently to decorate this little Christmas tree. And I'm kind of having it go off the sides. I'll trim that up later. I just wanted to make sure that the rope was long enough. Now for the other rope, I decided I'm going to have it on a white cabinet in my kitchen, on the side of my cabinet. So it would stand out more if I had it against the white cabinet. So there's no back on this project. So I'm just going to kind of glue it to the wire in the same kind of pattern that I did the other ones. Just to kind of build more of the structure of the tree. Now, once I got this on here, I decided I really didn't want the floating shelves of my Christmas tree. I didn't think it was really working. And so I decided to get my driftwood back out and go ahead and build out the rest of the structure on my Christmas tree. And I'm really glad I did. I really like how this turned out. So again, just kind of like a puzzle, just trying to find what pieces will fit where. And instead of gluing to that wire, which is not going to be really sturdy, I just glue to both sides of the driftwood and then glue those in place that way. And I was thinking once I had this on here that this would be a really cute like a lighthouse as well. If you were to flatten the top, it would look just like a lighthouse. And we've about got it built, just finishing off the top. And then I'm going to go through and trim up all of those ropes. Clean it up a little bit. I want it to look rustic, but not too crazy. I want it to have the shape of a Christmas tree. But a Christmas tree needs ornaments, right? So I decided to use these wood ocean creatures. The top two were from a package that I got on Amazon. I can post a link below. The bottom two I got this summer at Dollar Tree and with their beach stuff. So we have a dolphin, an octopus, a sea turtle, and a seahorse. And I'm painting them this beautiful color of turquoise acrylic paint that I get at Target. And that's going to look really good in my kitchen because I have my blue and red Santa coffee bar in there as well. And so I'm going to bring in those same colors for this project because they're going to be on the kind of same wall of my kitchen as that coffee bar. Then I'm going to go back and forth and just kind of alternate which side the little ocean creatures are on and just attach them to our Christmas tree with hot glue. I thought about hanging them with hooks or ribbon, but I thought this would be probably the easiest and most secure way of decorating the tree with those. Then I'm just going to do a very simple hanger for the top. I tie off some twine and tie off a knot. Then I wanted a little bit of red, and I have some of these little ocean creature foam shapes from the Dollar Tree, and the crabs were red. So I picked out a couple different sizes of the crabs and hot glued those on as well, and I'm glad I did. I thought it needed a few more creatures. Now I wanted to do a star for the top of my Christmas tree, so I'm going to use one of these starfish. And I get these on Amazon as well. Of course, I'll post a link. And I'm just going to paint it red. I'm using a bright candy apple red acrylic paint. And then I thought I kind of needed a stem for my Christmas tree. So I'm going to use another piece of that driftwood. This was the really big one, so it's perfect for the base of my Christmas tree. And just hot gluing that to the bottom. And then I'm going to hot glue my red starfish to the top. And I think this was my favorite project today. It turned out so cute. I just absolutely love this DIY. It's so unique. There we go. Okay, for the next project, I wanted to make a simple little nautical sign, also to hang on the side of my kitchen cabinets with that little Christmas tree. And I'm going to use one of these Christmas signs from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cover the existing design on there with some of this wallpaper, this removable wallpaper from the Dollar Tree, and kind of a shiplap pattern because there's all that foil and stuff on there. I really like the frame of that picture, and I'm going to kind of fill it in with that paper like that, just basically peeling and sticking it. And I do want to soften it a little bit to make it look more coastal. So I do go in here with some ivory acrylic and a chunky brush and just slightly distress it. You'll notice that I also filled in the holes on the top of that because I want to make it a sideways or horizontal sign like this. And I am going to make it kind of a Merry Christmas Santa at the beach sign. And so I'm going to use one of these little wood Santas from the Dollar Tree. Just filling the little hole hanger on the ornament. And I'm going to paint that with that turquoise acrylic paint. I got way too much from Target. And with just a little bit of a makeup brush and just give a nice coating on there. Then I thought he also needed like a palm tree. These are some of those wood stickers from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to paint that in the same color. A little palm tree I thought would be fun too. Then I'm going to slightly distress it all over with just a little bit of ivory paint to give it a little coastal beachy feel. You'll notice I also have this Merry Christmas ornament from the Dollar Tree. It's a couple of stacked tags and it's super cute. The only thing that didn't really go with my theme was the existing bow and the little garland on there. So I just used my heat gun to remove those and I can make this a little bit more coastal. Before I do anything, I'm just going to staple on some twine to make a new hanger to the back. Since it has the frame on there, it's thick enough for me to use my staple gun. And I'm just measuring to make sure I get it on there even. That way my sign will hang straight. And that way I won't mess up the sign by doing the hanger first. And it was a little bit crazy, that twine, so I do use a flame to kind of clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and hot glue down my little palm tree. Then I kind of liked that 3D look that got by having the little foam tab on the back. So I decided to do the same thing with Santa Claus by cutting a little piece of one of those little dominoes from the Dollar Tree and gluing that to the back first, then gluing that onto our sign, and it gives me a little bit of a 3D effect. Then I thought I would do the little Merry Christmas ornament up here in the corner. First, I want to tone down the glitter a little bit. I want it to look more coastal and a little less glittery. So to do that, I'm just using a little bit of matte Mod Podge and a makeup sponge just to tone that down a little bit. Make it look a little bit more nautical and coastal to go with my theme. Then I'm going to just hot glue that on to the corner of my frame. And this is going to be just a really easy sign. I want it to look nautical, but also a little bit beachy. And these colors are going to go great with my blue and red coffee bar. I'm going to glue down a seashell from my stash from the beach and then a sand dollar. I get those on Amazon as well. And of course, I'll post a link. Then I'm going to use one of these big seashells here on the other side from the Dollar Tree, just to kind of weigh that down to make the sign hang evenly because I had so much weight on the left side of my sign. And that's all there is to this DIY. And I do decide I want my Santa moved over a tiny bit because my shell was so big. So I just pop that off and move him over. Okay, here's our next DIY. I want to make a Christmas ornament using one of these tinsel Christmas ornaments from the Dollar Tree. So just like the candy cane, all I have to do is remove all of the tinsel from the tabs on the side of the Christmas ornament. Now I'm going to do 2 Christmas ornaments to hang in my dining area, but I want them to go with the nautical theme that we're doing in there today. So I'm trying to brainstorm and come up ways to make Christmas ornaments look nautical. The first step I'm going to do is go around and cut off all those little tabs on the side, just like I did on the candy cane. And then I'm going to cover it with some of this fabric from the Dollar Tree. It's in this beautiful like teal color. It's going to go perfect for the projects we did today. And I want to cover the whole frame in the fabric. I don't really want to use hot glue because I don't want that to show through the fabric. So I decided to just gather all of the fabric in the back and kind of wrap that around like that. And I'm just going to leave it all intact. Grab all 4 corners and I'm going to use a zip tie to attach that. And that was the easiest way. And I didn't have to use any glue. Didn't have to worry about any glue soaking through the front fabric of our Christmas ornament. Now, what I'm going to do here is I want to make this look like a fishing float. You know, like those glass balls, fishing floats they used to use. And so that is what I'm going to make this Christmas ornament look like. To do that, I'm going to use some of this twine. This is the little bit thicker twine that you get at Walmart, but you can use what you have from Dollar Tree as well. And I'm kind of going across in a diagonal pattern and just wrapping it all the way around the ornament and tying it off, gluing it a little bit on the back if I'm worried about the first ones falling off. And I'm going to do 3 lines across. I kind of do the same thing with all 3. This one was a little harder to put on because it was the shorter side. So I'm just hot gluing that to the back on both sides to get it started. And then just tying that on the back as well. And so what I'm going for is I want to do like that fishing net rope pattern that is on the little fishing floats. And so then I'm going to go back the other direction. And this was kind of fun, this part. I just tie it off in a knot, and then I weave it through and tie another knot and kind of go down like that. And I'm just going to keep repeating that pattern until I have my entire fishing float covered with twine. I do add an extra knot on the edges here and there just to make it look a little bit more knotty. And then I went around the back, came back, and I'm just doing the same thing to make another row. This is the first time I've made like a fishing net like this, and it was actually just really fun to put together. So that I'm just using some random pieces I have of twine. I'm not really measuring them. So when I start a new piece, I can just tie it to the back like that. Weave it through, tie it off. And I end up doing 4 rows going both directions to get the fishing float really full. And I really wanted the idea of a fishing float. I didn't know if I could really pull it off because I didn't really have a way to make it look like glass. But I think the blue fabric does a great job of kind of giving you that feel of the fishing float and being really easy. I love those little fabric samples from the Dollar Tree. Keep your eye out for them. I have them in red, blue, white, and lots of patterns as well. So I did 4 across that way, so then I have to go through and add an extra row this way to kind of balance it out and do 4 this direction. And even though I'm working the opposite direction, I can do the same thing just by going down, weaving it through, and tying off the knots. Super cute. And I'm just trying to even it up a little bit. It's not perfect, but I really like how it turned out. I think it's cool. Just making sure everything's secured down and tight. Then I'm going to use some more twine to tie off the top here and cover the top part of the ornament or our fishing float and hot glue down the top and trim that off. Now I just need to make a hanger so that I can hang our little Christmas ornament. And I'm just going to do that with twine as well, just by tying a simple loop on the top to make a hanger. Then I wanted to decorate it a little bit, so I'm going to use some of these fun wood fish from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to kind of string the fish and hang those from the fishing float using some of this red chenille yarn from the Dollar Tree. I thought that would be a fun way to add a little pop of color and to string the fish onto the top of the fishing float. So just tying that off with 2 tails, and then I can glue those to my little fish. I thought about painting the little wood fish, but I kind of liked them in their rustic raw wood. I think that goes with the coastal nautical vibe. And so I'm just hot gluing those onto the back of the chenille yarn like that, so they'll hang down like they're strung up fish from fishing. I thought that was a fun touch to go with the little fishing float ornament. And I was thinking that, you know, the glass ball or plastic ball ornaments they have from the Dollar Tree, you could also make fishing floats with those. That would be super cute with like a smaller piece of twine. And then I am just going to do a simple red bow at the top just to bring in a little bit more of that red and to finish off our fishing float sign. And I love this. I think it's so cute. And then here's our second ornament. This is from the Dollar Tree. It's one of the galvanized metal ones. And I'm going to paint all over with just some ivory acrylic paint. Doesn't have to be chalk paint. Acrylic paint will stick to this as well. And I do 2 coats of the ivory. Then I'm going to go in with a marker and kind of do it in half, but I'm kind of doing a curved line to kind of add a little bit of dimension. And we're going to make this ornament look like a fishing bobber. So I'm painting the bottom part of the ornament bright red with this candy apple red acrylic paint, and then also the top of the ornament to make it look like a fishing bobber. This sign was so easy and so cute, and you could even make like a large ornament with this if you wanted. It's kind of the right size. Then I'm going to use one of these metal signs from the Dollar Tree. They come in a 3-pack, and the joy fits on there perfectly. But I was afraid of using hot glue, metal on metal, so I'm going to use some of this all-purpose glue from the Dollar Tree. It says you can use it on metal, and I'm going to use that to attach it to make sure that it stays together. And I'm just going to simply glue that onto the front of our little fishing bobber ornament. You know me, I couldn't do some simple ornaments, right? I had to have some kind of a coastal nautical theme in there. And just tying off a simple hanger with twine. And then I wanted to add some jingle bells. So I got these silver jingle bells at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just stringing them onto some twine, tying a knot so they won't fall off. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other end of that twine. And I'm just going to add these to the top of the ornament just for a little bit more decoration and a little bit more Christmas touch. Then I'm going to tie that off with another piece of twine so I can attach another jingle bell on one of those. I like to work with odd numbers, so I'm going to do a total of 3 little jingle bells on the top of our little bobber. Tying that off, and that is all there is to it. It was so easy to put this one together, and I love it. So cute. Okay, you ready for the final reveal? Here we go.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sunset, it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed these Christmas DIYs. If you did, don't forget to hit like, comment your favorite project below, and please subscribe. Until next time, Merry Christmas, everyone.